Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Beatle Dustino coming at you today with yet another video. Still going to continue on with this celebrating 60 years of the Beatles in America coming to the U.S. And today I decided I'm going to just kind of do. I've been doing my entire vinyl collection, and I've went through all of my Paul McCartney, and I've done John Lennon too. And as a matter of fact, my next video will be a continuation of my John Lennon's. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I decided I'm going to just show starting my Beatles vinyl collection, and I thought I'll work on the Capitol U.S. albums here. I already kind of showed them in my ranking. You can kind of see me holding them up. That wasn't all of them, but and I never showed the vinyl itself, so we'll work on that today. So before we get started with that, I do want to thank all my subscribers, and thanks to any new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And do hit the notification bell so you know when I got new videos coming out. Also, please give the video a like. It really does help out the channel. And yeah, like and do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. But let's get on with this next episode of my entire vinyl collection, Beatles edition. So yeah, I've been kind of slowly showing my entire vinyl collection. Of course, I got what's on the rack, and I'm showing everything, all my CDs here. And I think I've had comments that people are shocked I got vinyl when I do show vinyl. I got plenty of vinyl. I just, you don't see it as well. It's kind of back there. You kind of see some of it. I decided I'm going to start just showing my vinyl collection too. It's kind of the equivalent of what's on the rack, just vinyl edition. And I'm going to kind of try to break it down into little sections like I did with Paul. I kind of had like the 70s and then the 80s and 90s and up and colored vinyl reissues and half-speed masters and archive. I kind of split everything all up into little sections. So I'm going to kind of do similar with the Beatles. I've got a decent collection, nowhere near the level of what Paul's collection is, I would suppose. Definitely a lot bigger than some of my other collections here. You know, I was always a CD collector, and I got into the Beatles in the CD era. So I was one of the first. I always was into music, always had my cassettes up until I got collecting the Beatles. That really was probably my biggest CD collection starting was the Beatles. So that's kind of interesting there, just thinking about that now. I knew the Beatles through the UK albums then, obviously, because on CD, and that was kind of standardized. The core collection was the UK collection minus Magical Mystery Tour getting to make the cut there. I've been so used to those that here, sitting in America, I had all these sitting at my record shops and that I just never got into. Even my parents' collection had a couple. So when I started really collecting vinyl myself, which was just the past few years, I really haven't collected, aside from my parents' collection, I really haven't collected much. I think about 2017, 2018, I kind of started collecting some stuff. I didn't even get my record player up and running again until 2020. So you can tell how recent I am to all this. But I told myself I'm going to get searching those U.S. albums, obviously being that they're going to be easier to find, to kind of have a new way, a fun way to explore the Beatles. I, explored them with all the CD stuff and all the, the new releases that have came out since. In the 90s, I was right in on Live at the BBC. Right when I got started, that was one of the first big brand new Beatles purchases I got. The anthology, all that. So anything after that, I've been on CD, and now slowly I'm getting on LP too. And I thought, well, this will be a fun way to explore the American albums, the US albums, the Capitol albums, and see, those differences and that, where this, I got to know it on CD. Now I'm going to get to kind of play the vinyl, even though I do got like the Capitol albums, volume 1 and 2, the US albums box set. I've got those. So I mean, I've enjoyed it all on that too, but actually getting to look at the vinyl and collect it and go out and be on the hunt, like knowing I want to go find a copy of Meet the Beatles today, and I found it. As a matter of fact, the day I got that, right around the time I got that, I know me and Mr. Mayo was having a live stream, and he was like, "Yeah, just ask questions, whatever." And I said, "Hey, do you think I'll find, if I go out to my local record shops, do you think I'll?" And this is before I even knew what they really had in inventory. I said, "Do you think I'd actually find a Meet the Beatles?" And he says, "Oh yeah, you'll find one." And and sure enough, I did. I found one. So let's get on to it. So we're not going to start with Meet the Beatles. We're going to start with introducing the Beatles, because that came out 10 days before, on January 10th of 1964. And here is my copy. I'll get it out of the sleeve there. I am really confused on this. I've really delved into this. I knew even when I bought this that there were so many counterfeits out there. And yes, it is a stereo one, so more than likely it's a counterfeit. I'm pretty convinced for a while that this jacket was right. But yeah, there is my front, the spine, and the back. And, you know, there's telltale things that I'm thinking it's not, like kind of the halo effect over Ringo's and George's head here. I don't know, maybe not. You do see George's shadow very well, so I know that's one thing that is possibly a no-go. However, I think my jacket might be fake, but I think this vinyl is correct. So that's kind of shocking. All this stuff is above the hole here, the spindle hole. That should be split, I believe, if it's not a real one. Colors look great on the rainbow thing there. And all the matrix codes, when I plugged this into Discogs, told me I had a legit copy. I don't know, maybe the jacket got so worn and they just got a bootleg jacket to put it in. I don't know, but very interesting. And I found this for a fantastic deal too. I think I got it for 20 bucks. And there was another one at the same record shop, another introducing the Beatles, and it was very clearly a fake. The jacket itself, and even when I looked at the vinyl didn't look right. And they were asking 25, 30 for that one. And I'm sitting there going, wait a second, this one that I'm very much suspecting is possibly real is $20. And this other one that's very clearly a fake is a lot more. So I didn't get that. But I got this. And I feel like I got a good deal. I don't know. This looks legit to me. That label looks awfully legit. So who knows? So of course, 10 days later, on January 20th of 1964, Meet the Beatles came out on Capitol. And here is my copy I found that day after talking to me and Mr. Mayo. Told me, you know, yeah, you'll probably find one. Sure enough, I did. This is a mono copy I found. I haven't found any others, so believe it or not. And it's in decent shape, I guess. It's not the best, but hey, I got a copy. I know it plays very well when I play it, so. But yeah, mono copy, and it came in this. I don't think this is correct, as I was holding it upside down there and it almost slipped out. I don't believe it came with a poly-lined paper sleeve like this. But there is side 1, Capitol rainbow label there, and side 2. So of course, coming up next, also in 1964, it would have been originally released on April 10th of 1964. We got the Beatles' second album. And this one I think was probably the one I was most looking forward to finding because I've heard so much hype on it and everything. And I just really wanted to find a good copy of it. And this one is a mono copy. Still haven't found a stereo copy of Meet the Beatles yet. So, and there is the back. I guess I didn't show you the spine there. I don't know if I did on Meet the Beatles either. I was just looking. It does have a inner sleeve here, but I don't think that's correct. It's just a plain white, very old and beat up. It's also got this. And I know this didn't come from me, so it was probably there when I bought it. Show you the label there. Capitol rainbow label on this one. There's side 1. Was I showing you that right? I think I was. Yeah, I was. And there's side 2. There we go. And my goal with collecting these is I really want to find a good mono and stereo copy of each. I'm not really worried about, you know, was it a first pressing on the Capitol rainbow label? Was it a later pressing on like the orange label or whatever? I just want a good mono and stereo copy of each. The Beatles' second album is one of the first that I happen to have that on. So here is my stereo copy of it, the jacket. And you can see this is the gold record certified award winner or whatever label thing there. Not an original. I don't know if that's correct again, like I said. Just the plain white inner sleeve. Show you the spine here. Did I show the back? I think I did. But there we go. As I referenced, not necessarily do I need it on the Capitol label, or the rainbow label, I mean, but this one's on that orange Capitol label. Sometime in the 70s, this one would have came out. There was side 1 and side 2. So up next, my quest for the mono and stereo, I got a bit of a story on this one, and it will be A Hard Day's Night. Of course, the United Artists. This one is a mono. This would have originally released also in 1964 on June 26th of 1964. And of course, this one is more the motion picture soundtrack. So you got the instrumental score on here too, along with the Beatles music from the film. A little different from the UK one, even though it's the same title. I really love this cover. I really don't know which one I like better. They're both really great covers. Yeah. But that is one thing fun with these US albums, when you get, especially a similarly titled one, and you get the, kind of a different artwork, and kind of seeing what looks better or maybe not. I happen to like that one. And this one, I believe, came with the original inner sleeve. There is the United Artists inner sleeve, and there's the back on it. And we'll take a look at the vinyl, in really great shape. That label looks just great on this one. But there's side 1 on the United Artists label. Really cool looking label on that. And there's side 2. So of course, I got the stereo one on this one too. I did manage to pull both, and interesting, I see I got a little different label with this one. So here is the stereo cover though, kind of seeing the difference. There's the spine and the back. And the funny thing was, I got these at the same record shop on the exact same day. And I remember I went up to the counter and was buying them both. I was like, oh, they're both in great shape. Yeah, I'll pick them both up. And I'm up at the counter paying for them, and the guy looks at me and goes, you realize you got two of the same album? And I said, yes and no. I said, the one's mono, the one's stereo. Us crazy Beatles collectors, we need both, So, and he kind of looked at me and went, oh, okay. So I was really kind of shocked. I thought that people working at a record shop should be aware of situations like that. And it does have a vintage looking inner sleeve. I don't know if this is correct to it, but there's that. And this one must have been more of a 70s pressing, because here it's on this kind of brownish, goldish, I don't know what that is, United Artists label there. It definitely looks 70s. If I can tell the color, I'm not sure, but it definitely looks like it came straight out of the 70s. But there's side 2. Why was everything brown in the 70s? I've never got that. But there we go. So up next, we got something new, which was July 20th of 1964, which features a lot of songs from A Hard Day's Night. So this is Capitol, of course, and not even a month later, they put this out after the United Artists A Hard Day's Night, with a lot of the same songs on it. But here is something new. This is a mono pressing, and this was the first one that I found on it, and the jacket looked great. And I did look at the vinyl before I got it, but I don't know, I was just excited to find it. I was at this record shop in Fargo, North Dakota. I was expecting great things from what I had heard about it online, and I get in there and it was more new stuff, not vintage. There was a little bit of vintage stuff. I don't want to put them down too much or anything. I'm not knocking the store great for what it is. I'm more in the market for vintage stuff, so it didn't appeal to me as much. And I asked the guy, I said, well, do you got anything Beatles in there? And he said, yeah, I think we got one in there. And we went and dug, and we found this. And I kind of felt obligated to buy it because he came and helped me look for it so well. I found out after I got home and looked at it even harder, there's some story to this. But yeah, here is the jacket on it. And it did come with an inner sleeve, and it looks possibly correct. Not sure. EMI, which is interesting. So not really Capitol, even though this is a Capitol album. So I think I got something kind of unique here. And when I got looking closer at it, at the label here, first off, and I really don't know if I should blur this out or not, it's got the person's address on it that owned it. Now remember, I found this in North Dakota, and if you're seeing that address, it is England, Yorkshire, England. If you look close at the label there, this is a Canadian pressing. I found in North Dakota, the United States, I found a Canadian pressing, which I mean isn't too weird, because in Fargo to the Canadian border is probably, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hour drive. So we're not terribly far from Canada there. But the fact that the label, the address label of the person that owned this was from England. So this record, from what I'm led to believe, looking at this label, did spend some time in England, from Canada, and somehow ended up in the United States. So pretty interesting. And see, that's what I love about these vintage vinyls. And looking at it, it looks like it's in good shape, but I know I played it and it does not sound great. Oh yeah, here, there's the scratches there. There's a lot of scratches there. I suppose all that traveling, world traveler of a album it is here, multinational. But all that said, I didn't go broke buying this. It was $4.65. So, I mean, it wasn't that expensive. So, And I think I've got quite a story on this record in my collection. I'll happily pay $465 for a great story like that. And this particular one I see I paid a lot more for. I think I got this in Fargo also, just about a block away from that other one at a different record shop. And this is another mono copy of something new and really good shape. This jacket is in great shape. There is the back and the spine. This jacket is in fantastic shape, actually. Came in this inner sleeve. I do not believe this is correct, obviously. It is the rainbow capital label. There's side 1. And this one does play a lot better, so there's side 2. Especially considering looking at the price that I paid for it. So 4 times the cost of the other one. So and sticking with something new, here is my stereo copy I've got of it. And I believe, I guess I'm not sure where I got this one. Can't remember. And it's got a white inner sleeve I see here. Somewhat vintage looking, so possibly might be correct. As you'll see soon, this is not a 60s pressing. But there's the spine and the back. There is the label on the orange capital label. And side 2 there. And still in 1964, despite the title of the album. So this one was released on December 15th of 1964. And it is Beatles 65. Again, a mono pressing on this one. And there is the front and the spine. And one of my absolute favorite covers of the U.S. albums. I think this is probably, not counting like Rubber Soul, which is pretty much just the UK cover, I think, or Revolver for that matter. I think this one's probably my favorite. This would come out on top if I do a ranking on the album covers. I really like this one. This one really works. I'm not happy with a lot of the US ones with their choices on that, but that one really works. This came in this poly sleeve here. Clearly not correct. There is side 1 on it on the rainbow capital, and there is side 2. And no other inner sleeve included with this one. So finally moving into 1965, we got Beatles 6 up next, which was released on June 14th of 1965. And here is my mono copy I got on it. Really was impressed when I found this. It is still in the shrink wrap. It's open, but in the shrink wrap. And I don't know how original this is. It's even got the little price tag from the store, which I don't want to mess with. It's kind of peeled off, but there's the spine and the back. And unfortunately, it's got the shrink wrap, but no inner sleeve. But it's the rainbow capital label. There we go. And side 2. And I found this one at Vinyl Giant in Fargo. I do remember that pretty distinctly. Of course, that was the mono, so I had to find the stereo. And there is my stereo copy. So there is the front. I really think this is an odd photo, how they photoshopped this out, or whatever you called it back then. What are they doing with their hands otherwise? I mean, that is just weird. Oh, they do got, you can't see the knife yet. They just photoshopped out the cake, which makes it look even weirder that they're all like wielding this knife at you. The Beatles are about peace and love, not trying to stab you. And they do got good smiles on as they're doing it, though. A Beatles 6. And this one did have an inner sleeve, and I believe that's probably correct. There's, I don't know, that's the front or the back, but we'll just go with it. And there's the other side. And here is the vinyl. There is side 1 on the rainbow capital label. And there is side 2. And I don't have a copy of Help, so if you're thinking I'm doing pretty well going in order, I don't have a copy of Help. I do, however, from December 6th of 1965, have a copy of Rubber Soul, the U.S. copy. I always say you can tell real easy, this has got more of a gold Rubber Soul here, where the UK one's more of kind of orangish, brownish. And yeah, so there we go. Really the only difference. There is a difference, but not really big. The spine there and the back. And again, it does have an inner sleeve, but I don't know if it's correct to it. It's just this plain white inner sleeve, but as you can see, it is a orange label capital. This would have been later. So there's side 1 though, side 2. And almost done here, guys. Just a couple more left here. Still in 1966 now, or no, yeah, we were in 1965. Now we're moving into 1966. So June 15th of 1966. Seems like a lot of them were released on June 15th, doesn't it? But here is Yesterday and Today. And no, mine is not a Butcher cover. This is definitely a reissue later on down the line. I think later in the 60s. Probably, I think it was 68 or 69 when I got doing some research. I knew for sure right away because it's got the Gold Record Award label there. Your Butcher covers, we're not going to have that even in second state. So, but there is all that. Does have, oh, this looked like fun. Let's take a look at this. So, plain white inner sleeve, and this could be correct, except not so plain when you write Zowie on it. Zowie! And this one a buddy of mine picked up for me in Bemidji, Minnesota, an antique store. Called me up all excited. He says, "Oh, I'm standing in Bemidji at this antique shop, and they got this cool Beatles record. Would you like me to pick it up for you?" And he sent me pictures of it. He had no clue about the whole Butcher thing. I knew right away from the pictures it wasn't a Butcher cover, but I'm like, yeah, if you want to pick it up for me, I'll buy it from you. You bring it to me. Especially when he told me the price. I think it was like $15. I'm like, yeah, might as well. I see though it does got a big scratch on it. I don't know if he's really much of a record collector, but I seem to remember it played all right though. I don't remember it playing too bad. There you go. Rainbow Capital label. So this is a little later pressing, but still on the Rainbow Capital label. It threw me off for a second because I'm like, wait a second, shouldn't this have an orange Capital label? But no, I guess some of those Gold Record Award winner stuff did come out on the Rainbow Capital after I got researching it. And last but not least, we got one more, and then I kind of am going to hold the other stuff into like a compilation level there with like Hey Jude, early Beatles. I do got both those, but I'll do that with my compilation Beatles albums. But we do got Revolver up next, and this is the U.S. copy of it, a stereo one. And I forgot to say the Yesterday and Today and Rubber Soul were both stereo. This is also stereo. I've found only, these ones seem to be the harder ones to find. I've never found this one. This actually was given to me by my cousin. Very grateful that he gave me this. And so was Rubber Soul. I did get that from him. I've only seen Rubber Soul once other time at that same Bemidji antique shop when I actually went there in person that my buddy got Yesterday and Today at. I did find a mono Rubber Soul there, and it was so badly scratched it wasn't even funny. And I think they were asking like $250 for it. It was ridiculous. I'm like, you can't even play that one side because it had just the biggest scratch I've ever seen on a record going through it. Even in good shape, I don't know if that's worth $250. But there is the cover on Revolver here. And this one does have the inner sleeve. It's really cool with this. I always like these Capitol inner sleeves with all the colors are kind of fun, and seeing all the other albums. This one I see we got me being a Beatles and Beach Boys fan. We got Rubber Soul and Help, and then Beach Boys Party and Summer Days and Summer Nights. And spotted those ones really quick. I don't really see too much more. I mean, a lot of really cool stuff, obviously, but no Beach Boys or Beatles. Nothing else is grabbing me quite as quick. But, of course, this is on the Rainbow Capital label. And there we go on side one. And then side two. Well, yeah, that should do it for my Capitol, United Artists, Vee-Jay labeled records there for my U.S. records. Next up on this, I think I'm going to do probably the core albums that I got. The handful of those, I don't have a lot, believe it or not. I'm slowly trying to collect them. I've been more focused on the actual Capitol albums and stuff for right now than any of the other ones, but I got a couple of things there, so we'll show those up next, and I'm going to include Magical Mystery Tour in those core ones. That's why you're not seeing any of my Magical Mystery Tours on this one. And so eventually I'll do the live albums, compilations, kind of like that, and singles, stuff like that. I'll break it all down, and we'll go that way. That's going to wrap it up for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. This was kind of fun talking the Capitol albums again. I've been really on quite a string on that with my ultimate guide to Beatles Coming to America and the Capitol albums volume 4 or 3. What if? Maybe we could do a volume 4 one day. And then what did I do? The album ranking, and now this, I guess. So, and I think I went out of order there, but something like that. You know what I mean. You've been watching my videos. Hopefully you have. But I am going to get signing out. And before I do that, I do want to thank all my subscribers once again, and thanks to you new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and hit the notification bell so you know when I got new videos coming out. Also, please give the video a like. If you've stuck around to this point, as I say, you must like it, so please give it a like. It really does help out the channel. And do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. Let me know your journey on collecting the Beatles on Capitol or in the U.S. here. I'm sure several of you got some great collections and have been probably collecting them since the 60s. So let me know your journey there. Let me know if you're in the UK. Have you had any success finding these? I know I've been talking with Beatley Tone, and he's been saying he wants to get into them, but he wants the vinyl. And yeah, I totally get that. I'd want the vinyl too. Yeah, I suppose that's a little trickier to find over there, just like I'm having a hard time finding the core albums, the UK albums on vinyl over here. So aside from like 80s and 90s reissues, I guess. But anyways, I am going to get rambling too much there if I don't shut up here. So I'm going to get totally signing out. I am Beetle Dustino, signing out.